All right, we're live.
You want me to go live on the Monster Radio?
Got some nice fresh clay today. I don't forgot what I remember working on this thing, but I forgot what I was even doing. Now see.
Now let's see.
Should I wipe this into the bucket?
Sure. All right.
How are you?
Good morning. Today we got fresh clay, so we're gonna actually get some progress done.
Nice.
Last week was a little bit weird. Kind of slow.
It's a good lesson to learn. Like I'm still new to this wet clay, which I love.
Yeah.
But then having to work with some that's a little challenging, you know.
Yeah. We could have prepared a little bit.
Are you want me to open this one too?
Yeah, you can that one. I got this one. And it will be good.
Oh, nice. So you can grab
Yeah, you grab a chunk, or I got this wire clay cutter that will also pull nice on it, and I don't really want to run the air conditioner if we can help it for sound reasons.
No, because last week it was on, and I didn't realize it.
It's not so bad, is it?
No, it's not bad at all. In about another week, it'll
It'll get challenging, but you know what we could do is I can run it overnight, and what I drape off this door, I cover this door, and this room's pretty well insulated, so we could just come in and it'll stay cool for at least the first half if I just run the air conditioner before we're here.
All right, cool.
Nice.
Tools. So what's new, man? Good morning. I did leave my coffee in my car. I'll give you a knuckles cheers.
Oh, we'll do a little piping hot caffeinated to start the day. This week passed so quick, dude. I can't even tell you. Like, I woke up today and I was like, "There's no way it's Monday. There's no way it's Monster Monday."
Yeah, I was like, "Fuck."
And I hadn't talked to Kayla, and I was like, I hope she shows up. I don't know. I didn't feel like, even my son today was like, I got to go to school. We won first place in Pinewood Derby this weekend, which was
nice.
a really big deal for our little family. And
how fun. It was, Pinewood Derby is the Boy Scout thing, right?
Yeah, Scouts. So we both got first place.
Oh, nice.
I got first place against the dads, and he got first place against... Well, I got first place against dads and siblings, and he got first place against the Scouts.
That's awesome.
So that was really a cool thing, and I was probably prouder than he was. It's kind of a dad sport, I think. Right. My dad did really good at mine. He built my car, and when I was a kid, I had like the Pinewood Derby car, and but it was definitely my old man's efforts. I made it a point. I tried to let Cooper do all the work he could himself. Sometimes I had to run the drill or something that he's going to hurt himself, but he did a really good job.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember I was only in, I think, for 1 year. Scouts or whatever. And then we did that, and I feel
definitely the highlight.
Yeah, it was fun, but I feel like it was not. I don't know where my dad was at. He wasn't really into all that kind of stuff. So I was a man on my own a little bit. Yeah. All I remember was like putting the magnets in the bottom.
Yeah.
Or was it the magnets from
magnet weights? Just something to make it weigh about 5 ounces.
And then painting it. It was fun. I had a lot of fun with it. But
I was always really jealous. Like my friend Ben Foreman got to paint his own car, and it just looked crazy. And like he went with black and put stickers all over it, like TNC Surf Shop stickers. Nice. And I thought it was so cool. But like my dad's cars looked real slick.
Yeah.
I didn't paint them.
So were you? Did you do Cub Scouts and all that stuff when you were a kid?
Very loosely. My brother was a serious scout, but I would like sign up if there was a camp out going on, or Iowa Derby, something fun. I was there, but I did not do merit badges. And I do remember building a birdhouse with my friend Ben's dad, Ken. He taught us how to build a bird feeder. That was the first time I ever used like real tools. And then I remember getting my totem chip, which is at the time was what you got to so you could scout legally carry a pocket knife. And that was important to me. I carry a pocket knife to this day. I always have a knife with me, and that.
I have some friends like that. I feel like there's people that always have knives with them, and it's just like a very natural thing. If I were to put a knife in my pocket, I would be like, I don't know, I would feel like I was doing something wrong. But I grew up with them too, and when I was younger, I had them as well. But I don't know why it's funny. It's like, and then the buddies of mine that always have them, it's always so damn handy. Like,
Yeah, I use that knife all day, every day. Like, and I'm always the guy that Waleed always has a knife too, and so it's always it is really handy and just kind of a man thing, I guess. But
also, like the majority of my working life, 18 years, was in a casino. You
can't have
a pocket knife. I would have gotten in trouble. So.
I've lost.
Steve Hansen says, "Hey, nice knife, Tommy."
Steve Hansen got me that knife for my birthday.
Oh, nice. Good morning, Steve.
And Steve Hansen's a knife guy. He's always got a knife on him. Yeah. I don't know. There's just something like ever since I got that totem chip in Cub Scouts, it was like now I'm allowed.
Yeah.
And but I've had more Leathermans taken away at the airport than I can count. Like I've lost more $100 knives at the airport. Because I don't realize they're on my pocket, and then when I get to the security, it's either, what do? You got to get on the plane. So they're like, well, you got to throw it away.
Right.
And somebody keeps it.
Right.
Nobody's going to throw it. They're not just
nice
throwing
collection
away.
of some cool pocket knives.
Yeah, the Leatherman, man, that's a nice knife. So now I only buy generic Leathermans.
My brother, when my brother was young, he was a little bit of a wild man. Like when he was a little kid, he was the best kid you could ever imagine. Like straight A's, whatever the what's it called, AT or whatever it was called back then, like for really smart kids.
The gate thing.
Yeah, he was just a super smart, really.
I met your brother. He was very nice.
Yeah, he's a great guy. When he hit his teens, he was just like, he was as wild as they come. Like he was fucking wild. So anyway, there's a little bit of backstory to get to, but he went to the airport with his family as a grown up when he's back to being the most mellow, like just a good,
right.
law-abiding citizen, no problem. And when he went through TSA, he had his carry-on had a small knife in it that he didn't know he had, because he'd had it camping or something.
Yeah.
And there was a hole in the bottom of the, like the what do you call it, the pocket. So it slipped underneath. So then when it
looked like he was hiding
it. So then when they were like, I probably butchered the story a little bit, but I look at the details. But it's like, so they asked him, or they took him, like once they said you have something in there. He has no idea. So he's like, no, I have nothing in there. And they take him and then all the family, they can't get on the airplane. He ends up going up in the back room. And because when he was a kid and a wild man and an idiot, one night him and his girlfriend are fighting and they're driving in their car and they're like not getting along. And she's like, this guy's tailgating me behind, like he's riding close, or whatever, and he's like, fuck, whatever. So he throws his beer out the car at the thing.
It was a cop.
It was a cop.
Oh my God.
So luckily it was like, I don't know, right by our house. And so he came back to the house. My mom came outside, but it was a nightmare because again, he was an idiot. Like, so and the cops were rough. Like they threw him up. The one cop was really bad.
Of course, that guy hit with a beer bottle.
Exactly.
First of all, don't have beer in the car. Second of all,
so
don't throw it at a cop. There's your lesson.
So all of that, he ended up not getting arrested. My mom was able to kind of and the cops, but he did get some sort of a charge or something.
Right.
And so I don't believe
he's on the list
for it or anything. But either way, it was, I don't know, 20 years later, maybe more, 25 years later. But when they pull him in there, and I think he had thought it had been off his record, and he's never been in trouble again. That way. But yeah, it was a big deal, and they kept him back there for a while. They like interrogated him. They were threatening him.
You know what's funny is I don't believe in TSA.
Right.
I don't believe, and I apologize if there's any live viewers that are TSA. But you know how you know TSA is not a real thing? Because we have Veterans Day, we have Military Appreciation Day in the sports. We have, there's support your local police officers, there's support your fire department, first responders.
Right.
When have you ever seen any kind of a support bumper sticker or T-shirt for TSA? Support your airport front line. No, fake news. You don't even need a high school diploma to be TSA. I don't believe in TSA at all. I think TSA is a made-up job. So those guys giving your brother a hard time is like, yay, we get to do something. This guy has a family and kids, and we're just annoying in the morning and yell at people on the airport. You know what I hate is like you pay $600 to get a flight to freaking Florida, right? You got to be at the airport at 4:30 a.m. And they're just screaming at you like, listen, and I'm like, listen, dude, I am paying your salary. Stop yelling at me. Stop being mean to me. I paid for the ticket.
Yeah.
I just want to keep my shoes on if possible. If not, I'll take them off. But if you yell at me, I'm not taking my shoes off. Just be nice. Jesus. I paid so much money to get on this plane, and you want to treat me like I'm going to freaking Guantanamo Bay. I have.
Well, and especially like when, I mean, I don't know, as TSA, that's a newer thing.
It's
right?
9/11. Since 9/11.
So
I used to go meet my family at the gate in prosthetic makeup, so they wouldn't. Maybe they won't recognize me. This would be so.
that's
funny.
awesome.
And I remember I picked my brother up as him and his girlfriend flew to LA, and I picked him up in a Frankenstein makeup. Like, why? Why'd I do that? Because I'm weird.
Steve says TSA strip searched him.
That's because they wanted to see the good.
Yeah, and was to your point, it was like when things started getting dicey with TSA, you know, when they added these new rules and all these things that were making people uncomfortable, they didn't do themselves any favors by making that experience.
No,
like it was like you felt like you were.
All they have to do is be nice to you, honestly, and they're not, and that drives me crazy.
I don't fly much. The last time I flew, I actually was like, oh, they weren't, but they were still dicks because, like, when you go through, when you're going through the thing, you got to take off your shoes, and they act like it's like really easy to do.
Right.
You know, like take off your belt, take off your shoes, empty out your
The
thing.
worst is,
Like,
take off your belt.
Yeah.
I take my belt off. I hands above your head. Pull your pants up. You just told me to take my belt off. You want me to pull my pants up? Why do you think I wear a belt? Oh my God. I hate TSA. I hate the airport experience. I love traveling. I love traveling. I don't mind flying. Like, I'm not afraid of a plane or anything. I just hate getting on a plane because I do travel a lot. I travel for a while there. It was once a month, some other state. And, man, I'd rather drive. I'd rather drive than have to deal with somebody yelling at me and telling me to take my belt off and then pull my pants up.
Right. And tell you hurry up too. All right, hurry up! Come on! You're like, fuck, man! You're trying to gather all your shit. You're
Especially
dropping
when
your
you got
shoe.
kids
Yeah,
with you
yeah,
and stuff.
exactly.
God.
My son's got, you know, yeah, brutal.
Stupid is what it is. Unnecessary
Just
yelling.
a little nicer.
But you give them a badge and you give them that shirt, and they think that they're just like this weird in charge. You are not a police officer, sir. I promise. You have no training in that area.
What is their? Are they considered a? I mean, they can't.
No.
Do they arrest? Like they won't arrest?
No, they can detain you until the police come. They are basically mall cops. That's all they are. They are the guys when you go to Burning Man or one of these festivals like EDC that stands out to metal detector and makes you empty your bag. They are not a real government service. I'll never believe they are anyway. I'm just a jerk. I'm sorry. Let's move.
Sorry to all of our TSA.
Yeah, I'm sorry if anybody is a TSA worker and trying to support your family.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some very nice TSA workers.
I haven't met them.
But yeah, it was a big deal with it. It was like they ended up letting him go, but it was like, you know, they had to make him feel like I think they even missed their flight. And it was like him, his wife, and I think 3 kids. Yeah, it was like a fucking nightmare.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and it was, like, and it also wasn't like they found in the bottom of his bag like a butcher knife. Like it was like a little fucking knife. Yes.
My brother's made it through a couple times with like a pen knife or an X-Acto knife on accident, but.
Right. Man, when I don't travel much. I went with TJ one time to when he was shooting in Costa Rica for his show.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, it was really fun. And he was already there, so I did the whole trip by myself. I don't like flying that much, and more of it I think is because claustrophobic. Not terribly, but just like at times I'm like, I don't like this. And then also, yeah, I don't know, but like. I don't. It's not that I'm not afraid of dying. I'm really just not. But I'm like, it's like I don't know what it is. I hate flying. The whole experience. Once I'm in the airplane, I'm fine. But point is, I can look for any reason not to fly. So I went on the trip, and it was fun until like we got to Costa Rica, and then you had to take one of those little puddle jumper planes.
Yeah.
Uh, but what's hilarious to me was once you got off of the plane and you grabbed your luggage, and then you went through their next screening to like get onto the other plane.
Mm-hmm.
The guy was like, he could give a shit less. Like everybody was just walking on and walking past, and I stopped because I was like, and I asked him, I was like, "Do you need to check my bag?" And he's like, he grabs my bag. Like it was like I had pissed him off for asking, and I was like, that's not. So it's not as big of a deal in some places.
So I'm asking what you guys are working on.
So, on what camera are they?
Well, I can do it.
So I'm making my rendition of Robert De Niro's Frankenstein monster.
Love it.
And Mike is
I'm working on another zombie.
Working on another zombie face for Return to Shadow Valley.
This the clay from because there's such a thin layer.
Yeah.
It's like rock hard.
Yeah.
I was like, I just realized.
I've been rebuilding up on top, and then like some of it I'm just removing entirely because whatever.
That looks cool. I love the way it looks. The what do you call the blocking out?
Yeah, the claying it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got that nice, almost like television art look.
Yeah.
If you were gonna be a sculptor on TV, this is what it would look like. But so what'd you do all week?
Did I do? Oh, and I was working on. I feel like I don't know, and I feel like I didn't have a free moment. But I worked on a bunch of. I had a lot of like busy work from work I had to get done.
Yeah.
So that's probably why reports, cleaning up like folders and back ends, and just trying to get everything organized for the channel. I was working with Nick on some stuff. He's actually in Hawaii on a nice little vacation this week,
Cool.
which he needed.
I found out that Hello, My Name is Gacy, one of my movies that I directed, is being released on Tubi.
Awesome.
It got picked up. And also many other places, both Nameless and Hello, My Name is Gacy are really picking up steam on the streaming services.
Very cool.
And I mentioned it with Nameless before that like Full Moon did like a buyout on it or whatever, like they licensed it.
Yeah, that's cool.
2 other sites have licensed it too.
For Nameless?
Yeah, so they've paid up front. It's not a huge amount, but I mean it's enough that it makes sense that it would take us a long time to have acquired that in residuals.
Yeah.
So now our little like internet cart basket or whatever it is that says what we are owed is getting up there towards the 4 digits instead
of awesome, yeah.
the 3, and that's rare for Plan 10. We usually always get like a residual for 300 or maybe the highest would be like $400 a quarter, but and this is for multiple titles.
Right.
But Nameless alone we're owed more than that, so it's like it's working. It hasn't even released yet, but
that's a really cool. Sorry to jump, but that's a good like. The difference between it kind of hitting on a platform as opposed to making a sale is a big difference. That's cool.
Yeah. So it's I feel like it's working, and it makes me excited for the future because now we have Gacy is already making traction. It got on Tubi in the first round of their purchase or whatever. They once every 3 weeks or 4 weeks they go through the titles and make purchases.
Yeah.
Nameless was submitted for 12 months before it ever got grabbed by Tubi. But now Gacy has been picked up immediately. And, next up is Waleed's movie, It Steals Your Skin. We're going to re-release a film I worked on called Bioslime that is really good and fun through Plan 10 Pictures. And then Laughter Face. So
How's Laughter Face coming along?
Caleb has it for the edit, and I don't know how close to done he is, but it's got to be getting close. It was almost done when he got it.
Nice.
He's busy though. Everybody's busy.
Everybody's busy, and the weeks fly by, man.
Yeah.
So Justin says, tell Mike to get Bane on full moon. Good morning, guys, by the way.
Hey, Justin.
We were just talking about you.
Good morning, buddy. Yeah, we will. That's good to know. It's because right now we talk about this stuff, but it's good to bring it back. It's like for the past year for like indie stuff, it's like there's been
tough.
so little sales.
I felt the lull over the last year.
Nobody's buying.
What do you feel about this whole thing? I mean, I'm in a million Tubi groups, so people are really going like, Netflix is raising their price. Tubi says, hold my glass. We're still free. I think it's everybody's real excited to see the jump from Netflix to other platforms that aren't gouging.
Yeah, I think it's hard with everything sometimes because things become such a normal that you're just like, yeah, this are what they are. It'll never go away.
Yeah.
But there's always a breaking point.
Yeah.
Or there's always an inflection point.
And the weird thing about the Netflix stuff is we started talking about it, and I was like, maybe we cancel Netflix. Not because I'm mad that they're raising their price.
Yeah.
I don't watch anything on Netflix. Like, I can't think of something anymore. It's all either on Peacock. I watch a lot of Supercross on Peacock, or Paramount Plus. I don't really watch Netflix ever. Like, there's not really a good documentary series on there, which is what I usually watch.
Yeah, me too.
And there's not really a good, like series like Yellowstone or something. I watch Tulsa King right now, and when I'm like at the end of the night or whatever, and that's on Paramount Plus. But I don't see.
There's a new show on Netflix that me and my wife just started 2 days ago.
Yeah, is it good?
It's called Something Really Bad Is Going to Happen or something like that. Yeah, it was like it's a lot of mystery. We're like at episode 4. And so far I like it a lot. But it's the same thing. It's like when there's a period of time on all of these platforms where like you're like, wait a minute, I haven't seen anything I really wanted to watch in over a month or 2 months.
Or a year maybe. Like I honestly can't think of the last thing I watched on Netflix. To the point that when I turned it on yesterday, didn't even look familiar.
Yeah.
So I was like, maybe that's time to cancel it.
Well, and that's the thing. Is like once you kind of get it out of your system, then it's easier to let it go.
I watch a lot of Tubi because I'm also more doing research for what I do. So I'm trying to see the poster art, the trailers, I like to see the marketing on Tubi and what pops to the top. I know there's been a couple midnight texts to you and Justin where I'm like, you're on the top.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because it's to me that's really exciting. In my R&D of how do I get my movie seen? God, if it would just jump to the top once in a while. And I'm hoping with like the kind of momentum that Nameless has going for it right now, I'm hoping that some algorithm somewhere is like, hey, people like this one.
Right.
Maybe it's the poster art. Maybe that poster art is hitting. I don't know. Something is working for it though, and I want to find out what. So. And
also beyond that too is like what also because I'm not to say the movie is not worthy or anything, but I'm very curious to like. There's a reason why it's being bought,
and at this point, it could only be the poster or the trailer.
Right.
Because they don't watch the movie. It could be. Could it be the fact that Katie Morgan and Ginger Lynn are in it? Could it be the fact that I don't know. I'm very curious to find out. And but if it is the poster art, it's hitting some kind of an algorithm that's nice. Maybe it looks a lot like Strangers or something.
Right.
Well, geez Louise, let's keep doing that. Oh, it's a really beautiful poster. It looks very Town the Dreaded Sundown. Waleed made it. Oh, it's nice. Steve in the hood. And it's just in Nightmare Toys font, which is a Chad Savage font. It says Nameless. That's it.
Oh,
really.
Cool.
And the old gas station burnt up behind him. But it looks like a painted poster, kind of like Without Warning or.
Steve says it's because of him.
That's because
I think it could be.
yeah, I think
it's
because of
mostly.
Steve Hansen. It's probably because of Steve Hansen.
Well, didn't Steve go around like in that character for a while?
Oh, he did, yeah.
Tell the story? Like, what's the kind of
So
the birth of
Nameless,
the name?
Nameless is a interesting story. So Steve Hansen was playing Nameless before I ever met him. I remember seeing him at Days of the Dead dressed like Nameless, walking around. I was like, oh, that's a cool character. I thought it was like a movie already. I thought he was promoting a movie, but he's just dressing up and having a good time. And so then down the road, there was this Las Vegas film like competition festival called the 777s.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, I don't know what year this is, maybe
Like 4 or 5 years ago, yeah.
2019, 2020, I don't know.
I feel like it was after COVID.
It was called the 777s, and they wanted to make 7 movies for $7,000 in 7 days of shooting. And my friend Drew at the time said, "Hey, I want to do this competition." Or no, he actually came into my shop saying he didn't want to do the competition. He's like, "Oh, there's only 7 days, only $7,000." And I said, "Drew, I have a script. We should do this thing. Well, and we could change it. I had a script called Mother's Day that I wrote about like a welder killer, and I was like, we could change it to that sackhead guy and your buddy Steve, because Drew knew Steve. I was like, we could use Steve for Nameless, but we'll shoot Mother's Day. I already have the script. It's written. It's awesome. There's 3-wheelers. There's killing and barbed wire. It's a great movie." And he was like, "Okay." And so I gave him the script, and then somehow he got done with the idea. He didn't want to do the thing, or I don't know if they moved on without him or he moved on without them. One way or another, Drew's parted ways from the 777. And I was like, man, that was our moment. Because I wrote Mother's Day back in like 2010. This is a movie that, in the height of Plan 10 in the early days when Sasquatch, The Trek, Gould Creek, I was like, we're going to make this movie Mother's Day. It's going to be so great. Originally, I wanted Dee Snider to play I wanted Dee Snider and Felissa Rose to play the parts that Ginger Lynn and Steve Hansen ended up playing. But so cut ahead, I get to be good buddies with Steve, and he's my monster in Las Vegas Frankenstein. And Steve is, I'm not just saying this because I know he's listening, but he is my brother. He's my friend. He has done more for me than a lot of people. And because of that, I was like, you should make Nameless. So then I met this guy, Mike Lenzini. And Mike, that's you. He got me to make this movie called Las Vegas Frankenstein. And that went real well. And they were like, can we make another one? And it was the same budget. And I said, yeah, I could do another one. I got this awesome script for Nameless, because all I did was change my welder killer to a sackhead killer. He's still an automotive guy. Right. But it was the same idea. And then I had some friends come around, and we asked if they'd be willing to make it. And then Kayla produced it. And then we made this movie. Well, I think that upset my friend Drew, and he thought that this was his movie somehow, even though it was my script. And it was, I became friends with Steve, but I don't know. He got a little bit bummed out, and that's okay. I mean, I understand feelings and stuff, and I didn't leave him out of it though. He was part of the movie. Like, he was actually in it originally. He's been cut out just for pacing, but at the time he was in it, and we were still buddies and stuff. So, there was no harm, no foul in my opinion. But later, I believe maybe there was. I don't know. Right. But the movie is fun. It took forever to make. It was kind of the story of Nameless is like the story of how hard the movie was to make. It was hard to get it finished, and then it was hard to get it premiered, and we had technical difficulties, and then it was hard to get it released and find home on streaming. So in the last couple of months, the steam it's picking up. I believe everything happens for a reason. I'm like, well, this is the time it was supposed to hit, because last year was pretty pathetic for independent film, like getting picked up.
2 years have been very
the last 2 years, which is when Nameless has been finished. So right now might be the best time for it to come out. I would love to I want to see like Nameless 9, Nameless goes to Mars, or what. I think Nameless could be a franchise that you just kept making them. It's a fun, generic, I say generic in the best way. Like, sackhead slasher guy.
Yeah.
I love the movie The Town That Dreaded Sundown.
Yeah.
I pulled a lot of influence from that making the movie. Like we used a lot of improv and a lot of slow, long shots, like The Town That Dreaded Sundown. I don't know if that will carry over to the audience because a lot of the current audience don't watch movies like The Town That Dreaded Sundown, which was so freaking great. But
Someone's asking you all like Mother's Day from 1980.
you know it. That's the number one. Charles Kaufman. He made 2 movies, When Nature Calls and Mother's Day. Wait, did he say the original? What about
1980.
Yes, of course. Man, Mother's Day is I would say on top slasher films, number 3.
Really?
I love Mother's Day so much. He made When Nature's Call, which is a complete comedy, and he made Mother's Day. And Mother's Day is fantastic.
When Nature Calls, who's in that? I feel like I know that movie.
I don't know.
But it's a comedy, right?
It's a comedy, and there's a bear on the cover.
Yeah.
But he's Lloyd Kaufman's brother.
Oh, okay.
And so Mother's Day, the original Mother's Day, is a trauma film. And so is When Nature Calls. Maybe I'm wrong about the title of When Nature Calls. No, that's the right title. But I absolutely love Mother's Day. Punk songs, disco songs. It's just great. It's just so good. I even use what movie do I talk? Oh, on Legend of the Sasquatch, I stole a line from Mother's Day. So, yeah, I love that movie.
I know I've seen it, but I don't. That's the beautiful thing about getting old, or about losing your memory.
You can watch it
Is
again.
that you watch? Yeah, I just watched me and my wife because she was not really into horror movies,
Right.
and now she's liking them a lot more.
Right.
And so early on, we were like, she's like, well, no interest, but we keep watching more stuff. And so I got her to watch some Friday the 13th because I was like, these are my favorite. So we watched.
What's your favorite Friday the 13th?
I think that my favorite has got to be. God dang it, is it 7?
7?
7 is
Yeah.
Wait, because there's 2 right there. So which one is the one with the girl with the special powers?
7.
And then 6 is the one. Yes, no, 6 is the one where Jarvis goes and digs him up and sticks the 6.
6.
But I love 7 too.
I love 7.
Yeah, I even like 5 is the one with Roy.
I love part 5.
Yeah, it's so good. And that was what I was gonna say is as I was watching these.
Part 5 is like could be real. You know?
I forgot how much like I love about part 5.
Oh yeah.
But I do remember when I
that
saw
scene
it.
When Reckless is running through the woods in the rain.
Yeah.
Terrifying as a kid. Like that. I grew up in the middle of the woods, man. That could have been in my backyard.
Right.
That was
Yeah, I love, but I love 3 too. We watched 3. Friday the 13th. I don't know that there's.
I'm a Jason guy too.
Yeah, I just don't.
I love them all. Part 4 is my favorite.
Part 4.
Part 4, the final chapter with Corey Feldman.
Yeah.
And then part 6, and then after that, part 6. But I love them all. I'm not a.
Yeah, they're just.
And I love slasher movies like that don't take themselves so seriously that you're allowed to root for the villain. I don't need a villain that's so dirty and nasty and disgusting that you feel like Henry Portrait of the Serial Killer. You're not rooting for Henry. You know what I mean?
Maniac.
Yeah, Maniac. You're not rooting for Maniac. But I love Maniac Cop. Like I would root for Maniac Cop. Yeah. Officer Cordell.
Yeah, there's. Which one of those that I just mentioned is the one where it opens up where there's like the corporate guys on a retreat playing paintball?
That's part 6 is in that.
Yeah, that's so goddamn funny. Like I love those characters, and it's so like I have all these, and I've watched these movies a lot.
Yeah.
But I have all these memories, and they all just kind of ran together. So I couldn't really remember. As I was watching, like I said, it was like watching it for the first time, but with like I don't know, having seen a long trailer or something.
Yeah.
That was fun.
That's so cool.
Is on this for the face one, because I haven't done all these yet. How far should I start to make a line?
Yeah, I would cut that about a ½ inch to an inch back, and then just blend it off.
Is that side okay, or should I take that?
That side's perfect. No, that's nice.
But the top here, I should add more right here.
Yeah, okay. You can either add more or take some away, whichever works. Okay. Because either you're going into the hairline or you're stopping at a hairline.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But it can be trimmed either way. It can be trimmed the other way, so it doesn't.
Okay.
No, I love. There was always Freddy or Jason guys when I was a kid. I was always the Jason guy. But I love Freddy.
I love Freddy too. I was less of a Leatherface when I was a kid. I really enjoy Leatherface and like him a lot.
I think the Texas Chainsaw is one of the greatest horror movies ever made. I was a fan of Leatherface before I ever saw the movie because of the movie Summer School.
All right.
Because Chainsaw and Dave loved Texas Chainsaw Massacre, so I did too. But I can say that now it is my favorite horror film of all time.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
The original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I think, is a piece of art that nobody has surpassed yet, nor do I think anybody will ever be able to, because it takes place in a time where all the perfect storm happened, shooting on Super 16, and in that dust and that perfect. I mean, that movie's so beautiful you can watch it on silent. The naivety of the actors. There wasn't horror fans talking about horror movies back then, so there was no expectation. They were just making what felt horrifying to them. You know what I mean? There was they weren't reading Fangoria when they made Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
And also, like, those movies, that and Halloween, as I got older, what surprised me was the lack of, like,
blood and gore.
Yeah,
it's like, atmospheric fear.
Yeah.
It's actual fear. You write those images in your own head because you believe that's there,
Which a lot of, like, even I rewatched Terminator not long ago.
Right.
The original one. And my memory of that as a kid was like, Jesus, like, it was very violent, very gory. Like, I remember a lot of blood in all three of those movies.
But you know which one? You know which one there's blood in? RoboCop.
Yeah,
RoboCop has got some gore.
I wonder if that's one of the first ones that kind of like, that period of time. The Predator had some real gore.
I mean, it was so crazy in the 90s when you had the RoboCop cartoon, the Toxic Crusader cartoon. Like, these were brutal movies.
Right? He'd run around with the toys. That's what kind of gives me, sometimes when I'm thinking about my son, I'm like, I don't know, because he'll be 7 very soon now. Yeah. But he loves all these monsters and got all these toys and a lot of stuff you can't watch. I did let him watch we watched Friday the 13th Part 6 together.
Okay, and that's a good one because it's the one that there's no nudity.
Yeah.
So that
and that was all I was worried about. I was like, I just hope there's not nudity.
No nudity in that movie.
But there's the scene where she puts his head in. She puts Tommy's head in her lap.
Yeah.
She's like,
yeah. When they're driving,
and my son's like looking at me because he's like, what does that mean? I'm like,
they're hiding.
Yeah, he's just hiding. But yeah, it was. I remember back to being a kid. I was like, man, I had all these toys. I watched them young too. Because I always try to remember how old I was when I was seeing these things.
I did not watch them young, really. I saw Toxic Avenger when I was 10. That was the youngest.
Right.
But then it wasn't until I was like 11 and 12 that I started discovering Nightmare on Elm Street and stuff and like getting away with sneaking them. Because I was not allowed to watch those movies.
Right.
But I did sneak them often,
Yeah, I still can't remember how old I was. I know I was young, but I don't know if I was 6. And I don't know if I know I probably wasn't 10 because by the time that would be like 5th grade, right?
Yeah, 4th.
4th grade. Because the only reason to say is like I just remember like in 5th grade, me and like TJ and Frank Clay, like we used to have these sleepovers where we would go rent a bunch of horror movies. Yeah. And it was amazing. But I wasn't like, that's not when I got turned on to horror movies. I had been watching them for a while. But yeah, it was fun to watch those with him. He loved them. And I was like, I think that part of the thing too is like, it's just that because he is sort of a fun killer, like it doesn't feel as like, I know that his little imagination can get that it's not as mean. Yeah. But back to what you said too about them being like, Leatherface isn't a fun slasher.
Right.
Leatherface is a
no, that's a sleepover night where you want to be scared.
Yeah.
And almost the idea of it is scarier. Like I would say if my kids ask for a recommendation on a sleepover, my daughter's 13 now and I'm fine with her watching it. I'd say you got to watch the remake of Leatherface because of Texas Chainsaw. The reason being that is I just think it flows better for a modern audience.
Yeah.
But I love the original. That's not to say the original's not better to me, but for my kids' sake, I think they'd be more entertained watching Jessica Biel.
Yeah, and now the remake is good, man.
Oh, it's great.
It definitely is my favorite remake of
There's
Haymaker horror
three that I have. I liked that one a lot. I like The Hills Have Eyes a tremendous
That was
amount.
good. Yeah, that was,
And I love the Amityville Horror. I think is actually better than the original movie.
you know, it's crazy. I still have not seen that.
The Ryan Reynolds
Yeah,
Amityville Horror.
I don't know.
It is
Just one of those
better
things. I gotta
than
watch it.
the
'Cause you said that
original
before.
Amity Horror. If you're a fan of the original Amity
watch
Horror, this is better.
Someone's asking, have you seen The Ghastly Love of Johnny X from 2012? It's a sci-fi musical.
I remember that, but I have not seen that. I remember reading about it in like Rue Morgue or Horror Hound or something, but I don't believe I ever saw it.
Is it good? It sounds like it's a recommendation. So
He says it's a fun watch.
okay.
I love musicals.
I do too.
Love musicals.
I didn't. Well, I grew up on Grease.
Oh, I think we all did, right?
Yeah, like it was. I mean, there was when you're a kid. Like we had a handful of movies that we could watch a million times. Never Ending Story was one of them.
Yep.
Grease was one of them. Well, Grease 1 and 2.
Yeah.
One of them that was really odd that somehow found its way into our childhood rotation was a movie called Best Little Whorehouse in Texas.
I love that movie. Texas got a whorehouse in it.
I haven't watched it in a long time. I need because it was so much fun.
I love Best Little Whorehouse.
But like, yeah, I feel like my sisters when they were 4 were watching it.
That was my introduction to Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
And I always loved Dom DeLuise as a bad guy.
Yeah.
I always loved him because he was like the Munchie sequel, and he was always like a goofy bad guy.
But I forgot how much I love. You know, you get cool, you go to school, whatever. And when this Moulin Rouge came out, I was like,
oh yeah,
oh fuck! I forgot how much I enjoy
musicals.
little musical. And that's why I want to do the little musical number at the end of.
Yeah, I love that. So I started making the notes for the script changes, but this is what I decided I'm going to do because I'm just not a very good literary writer. Like I can write notes, but like I don't want to go back and forth 100 times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm going to convince my wife to sit with me and just kind of fill in the spots that I'm talking about.
Perfect.
And then we'll do it and we'll highlight it or whatever in a different color, and then send the script back to you, and then you read it. And if you think something needs to be shifted or moved for cohesiveness, then go for it. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to take it off your plate.
No,
I'm trying to lighten all of our loads.
100%.
So we're not just going back at where I'm not going. I said I'm not picky, but how about this? And what about that? And blah, 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 blah. So I've been working on a book lately, and I finished my first draft of the book. Which
nice.
I am so stoked. Being somebody who
never thought they could.
never thought I could read a book, let alone write a book.
So cool.
I finished the first draft, and so last night Lola and I sat together, and we just went through it chapter by chapter. And I thought, oh no, this isn't right, because like my train of thought when I'm writing, sometimes I skip a bunch, or for ease of not trying to work something in, I just leave it out. Yeah. But I know it's there, which is kind of the similar with the Shadow Valley. Like there's a couple things I just need to add in there. So anyway, I just had her add it in, and then it's off to our editor. My friend Jamie's going to edit the book, and so and it's ready to be edited. I'm so stoked about this. Like I never thought that this moment would come. And what I'm most proud about, and it's kind of weird to talk about on this show, is that it's not a book that has anything to do with monsters, movies, horror, Tom Devlin's Monster Museum, anything that you would know me for. It's about taking an adventure motorcycle ride through the wilderness for 25 days. I love it. And it is 100% true. I did it with me and my two buddies, and there's trials, tribulations, life lessons, and it's just kind of a really cool story. And I mean, it's not even done. I mean, the first draft's done, but I'm just so proud. I feel like I accomplished something. Like almost like when, kind of the same as when you finish that movie and you're like, dude, that's watchable.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Like people can watch this,
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Yeah,
that's really cool. I had an idea about the script because, so when you said, the thing about the spark plugs, when you said you're going to change it to cutting
gas lines.
The only thing that popped in my brain that I was like, I didn't, was like, I was afraid to maybe lose or might not play well, I guess that's what I should better say, is that the way that that's written in there, it's very sort of, um, I think keeping JW in the shadows
Yes.
is important. So when you first said it to me, I'm like imagining this scene that we're gonna have.
Or like creepy crawling.
That's not gonna.
No, we don't do that.
But then I was like, oh, after I kept thinking about it, I was like, oh, okay, it's in my brain, to use it, but this is what I came up with is that like when the car guys are trying to start their car,
We just see a drip on the puddle. On the
yeah, they step out into a puddle of water.
And then we see it by the bikes too, though. So we know somebody's sabotaging.
And you can still even.
And maybe we don't even show it on the bikes. We allude to the fact that the bikers did it.
Right. Well, yeah, you could do that too. Yeah, 100%.
Or something.
All I was gonna say, if you want to keep, kind of, another like peek in at JW being the mastermind. It's the same shot, but instead of him rolling spark plugs, he's wiping his knife off or something, and it's just meant to be fun. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, but it solved that because that was the only of all the things that you had said. That was the only thing in my brain because immediately I was like, I'm just imagining a scene of him and I'm like that kind of doesn't.
No, we don't need character. I kind of like the idea, maybe alluding to the fact that it's somebody else too.
Yeah. I like it too.
And then it's not, and we find that out when they try to escape, and you're like, oh, well, it's not those guys. But
yeah, well,
and that's the thing. Like, I don't want to change anything to the point that like I just want to patch some stuff up.
Yep.
Just to make it make sense. And
have you talking about you were changing the changing to the music stuff. Have you guys worked on any music or because
I talked to a very good friend of mine, Ben Foreman, who's been my best friend since kindergarten, and he is a musician as well. And he, out of the blue, because I asked him to do sound on the movie. He's a professional sound guy in LA. That's what he does. We haven't worked together in years, but he got his start with me and my wife. And so I said, hey man, would you do the sound on this movie? And if so, what's your rate? Because, we're low budget, blah, blah, blah. The guy works on like The Mandalorian and stuff, So it's like, but he wants to do the sound. He thinks it'd be a blast. He's got it penciled into his schedule. And then he just wrote me, he's like, can me, you, and Seth write a song for the movie? It doesn't have to be a title song, but just something we can put in there because we're all childhood friends, and they used to be in a band called Loser Nile, and then a band called Forever and Fall, and a band called Launchpad. And I was always like their follower. Well, now I'm in Switch to Fakey, and he comes out to our show. So like, he was like, "This would be so cool if we could all write together,"
Yeah, that's all.
And I said, "Well, I just changed the genre from punk rock to like hillbilly outlaw country. I don't know if that's your genre, but there's definitely music to be made." And he said, that would be absolutely perfect. We could do like an old timey rockabilly classic, not rockabilly like the psychobillies you see now, but like Hassel Atkins rockabilly. Like, I don't know if you know that. He's a legend. But, and so Ben was like, I'd love to do that. And I was like, I'd love to write this title song for it because it's called
awesome.
Return to Shadow Valley. And it's based around this song. So I think the three of us will probably write that song. And then I've talked to Waleed about writing a bunch of 3-chord hillbilly music.
Oh, fun.
For it. And like, Lola has this really cool keyboard that you can turn. It's like a MIDI keyboard, but not MIDI. You can assign any instrument to any key. So like it would be awesome to assign the spoons and the washboard and
nice.
Have her do like some real cool like almost like horse galloping when they're running, but it's like washboard and I could see the score of this movie being really fun to play with.
That's awesome.
This keyboard she loves so much that's the only reason Bloody Bluff has not been submitted or put out yet, even though it premiered. She just wants to go back and pull a little George Lucas where she fixes up the score because she wrote the score on Bloody Bluff and everybody was happy with it. Yeah. And but she's like, no, this could be better now. I can make this. Fun. I can make the string quartet the way that I want it rather than it sounding synthesizery. And I said, well, You're the only person I'm not going to tell no to. Anybody else, I'd be like, it's fine, put it out. Because I think it sounds great. I do. I'm happy with it, but she wants it better. I'm not going to stop her because this is
That's how you keep a nice collaboration.
Yeah, it's
Especially
how I
with your wife.
convince her to keep working with me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, the reason I just was asking because when we had talked before I had finished the script, I think you had said you had Wally kind of working on it.
Yeah, we were talking about doing the punk rock stuff.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I am so rooted in punk rock. Like I attribute punk rock to so much of my life, but I just feel like it's not the right choice for this one.
Yeah.
For whatever.
And I think what you've chosen works really well. It'll work fine. Like it'll be great. Even if it's not your kind of first.
It's not my love, but I do respect that the history of it, like the bootlegging kind of like Appalachia history.
I did work a little bit on the perk stuff, but I wanted to have it all done by today, but I didn't get it done. But I will get it done this week. Cool. And we are. The one last thing we'll have to do when we get a little time is have you guys make your. Because I'm going to let you guys. The Indiegogo campaign will set up the Indiegogo page, but I wanted to link. You guys will be the ones that collect the money. So I unless you want it differently, but that's the way I've seen it. Because that way it's just easier. It's a budget for the movie. So you'll just need to set that up.
Okay.
And then we'll, because I just want to, once we set up that account, I probably could set it up and then just give you guys the passwords, but then you'll have to put I don't know when you have the financial stuff in.
Yeah, I don't know about that. That's all the girls, they don't let me do that. I have to ask before I even spend anything. We have a Plan 10 bank account. Yeah, it'll just go to that. Yeah. And I wouldn't mind, I mean, that's up to you guys, but I wouldn't mind you putting that in, but you and Kayla can work on that together. I don't care. But yeah, because I want to get that open, so just in like downtime, I can just keep kind of looking through Indiegogo to see, just what other options of things that I might not understand with that. So. Yeah, I've just kind of been perusing and seeing what other companies are doing and what they're making, and I just can't wrap my mind around based on the perks how they're reaching those numbers. I mean, they're just getting blind donation, like blind donation. That's not and not even anonymous donation, but like a donation that doesn't, like, I don't need a perk. Here's my donation. Well, and so I think that there could be a little trickery in there with that. But I can say my buddy John Kerry has posted an Indiegogo this week. Not for a positive reason. He's having a tough time, and he reached out to his friend groups, and we're selling a bunch of "Hello, my name is Gacy's" and donating all the proceeds to him. But he blew past his goal, like $2,000 past his $3,000 goal or whatever, and so people are there doing that, just giving. Well, and that's what I was going to say is like I think that's those companies, the people that I talked to that were the kind of what do you call it, the experts in this stuff. Their common thing is like most of your money's going to come from your friends and family. Yeah. And that's that's our little challenge. Is like that's not it'd be great if they do, but I don't want to rely on friends and family. Yeah, because like we do that if we're not doing it. Yeah, and it's like, and I just think that that's not something that we can repeat. So I am really excited to see, because what I do know is that we do have to have, we got to get a lot of backers. We got to get. I mean, hopefully we can get 500 people. And I was really trying. I talked to a couple of the celebrities that I would like in this movie, and I was telling them about what we're doing and what we're testing these waters. But I also made a point of talking about how I want the backers to feel like they're getting the best experience they ever got on one of these projects. Part of that is I don't want any celebrity involved in this movie that will not take the time to be with those people, to share space and share stories. And I want any celebrity that's cast to be on board with, like, we are on a mission of having the most fun, Right. And
how's that been? Like most people,
very open to it. Very open to it. I talked to Brett Wagner. He's very, very into he loves this stuff, and he loves fans, he loves filmmakers, and he understands a lot of the backers are filmmakers that are looking to expand upon their relationships, whether it be networking or their resume. And then also Ginger Lynn, I talked to her, and I have she just loves people. It's hard.
Some of those people we talked before, it's just like when you see them at the conventions, they're just so comfortable.
Yeah.
It's so cool, and it makes the experience so
Ginger is one of a kind.
Yeah.
We met her on Nameless, and she's never gone away. She's like adopted us.
Does she live in Vegas?
Yeah, she lives about 15 minutes from the Monster Museum.
Oh, nice.
So we see her a lot, and she'll come to my backyard barbecues. And
That's awesome.
she's awesome. She's the best.
Someone was asking where we're filming this.
Where?
Yes.
Pahrump. We're gonna shoot in Pahrump.
The actual, like, in the workshop.
Oh.
Like, where are we at? Where are we?
We're at 1313 Effects. This is my my effects studio, and it's in Boulder City, Nevada. And this is where we shoot every Monday. And it's a lot of fun.
I had a question I thought of for you when I was just thinking about doing this week that I actually wanted to ask you last week. I forgot. But with Mega Effects, what is one of your I don't think I ever asked you this, but it's like what is
your
one
favorite job you ever did?
No, like what was there ever an effect that you're like that you didn't want to do? You know, like where you thought like, that's just like it was a little bit over the top.
No.
No?
No.
Was there ever like one that
Listen, I made a vagina bed because that was the job.
One of your weirdest ones?
I mean, I've done a lot of weird stuff, but I'm a hired hand, so
Right.
though I've never had to do anything that was like snuffish or like child pornish. I did a movie called Torture Room that was pretty brutal, but it was all for a good reason. Like it had an ending, you know. Brutality with an ending or brutality for revenge is okay, you know. When you're telling a story. I've never had to do anything with like child porn or weird anything morally unsafe. That's never been a job that I've been offered. I wouldn't do it. I tell you the one time I was uncomfortable. There's a very famous effects artist named John Vulich, who's one of my heroes, and he owned a company called Optic Nerve. Optic Nerve was most people think Glenn Hetrick from Face Off, but he purchased Optic Nerve from John Vulich. I loved John, and I was honored to get asked to work for him, and it was on an adult film. And John Vulich made the iconic penis hands and Edward penis hands. So to work on an adult film for the man, I thought this was a pretty cool opportunity. And I did a thing where it was a prosthetic of a girl had two anatomical holes.
Okay.
You know, one on top of the other, and it, like a freak show kind of thing. Right. It was a fun makeup, and they made the prosthetic. I didn't do that. I just went on set to apply it. But while on set on this adult film, it was being shot at Kimbo Slice's house, who is like an ultimate backyard fighter. And it was up in Canoga Park. There was no cell phone reception whatsoever. And the way they talked to these girls and the way that the attitudes were on set, it felt dirty and disgusting. And I was getting paid a lot of money to be there. So when I got home the first day, I was supposed to do 3 days. No, I was supposed to do 4 days. I had 3 days more that I was going to do. The 2 with the double vagina, and then 2 with one with 3 boobs. And I love the 3 boobs one because it was like Total Recall. Yeah. But we were selling these as real. Like, this is real. So anyway, when I got home, I said, man, I can't even wash the filth off me. I feel dirty. I did not like the way they talked to the girl. I didn't like the way the behavior was. I felt like I was doing something dirty. Right. So I passed that job on to a guy named Steve Costanza, who's a very known makeup artist, a good friend of mine at the time. And I mean, it was $800 a day, so anybody's going to take that job.
Right.
But I just morally didn't like it. And I thought I would never work on adult films again. That was my first adult film that I ever worked on. And then down the road, I get approached by this company. Well, actually, it wasn't even a company yet. The future company Wood Rocket, but the director, Leroy Myers, contacted me to do a Nightmare on Elm Street porn parody, and it's called Wet Dream on Elm Street. And I was like, God, I don't like that world. I don't work in that world. It's Freddy Krueger. And I called him and I said, how close to Freddy Krueger can I get? And he goes, we'd like to get sued. And I was like, okay. So I made this movie for Wet Dream on Elm Street. And I got to make the glove. I made the glove out of like silver vibrators.
It's yours.
Made the
Mine?
Oh. Made the Freddy Krueger, and I had more fun than I've ever had ever.
That's
Those
awesome.
Guys, Seth, who's in a lot of Plan 10 movies, as well as Leroy and Vuko, and all this group of people that I'm still so close friends with, and they're very much part of Plan 10 movies now. They, it was like making Saturday Night Live, but with nudity. It was so funny. So that one experience, I'm glad didn't break me, because I did have another experience on a adult film that I didn't enjoy, which was the Star Wars XXX, and that was a director named Axel Braun, and I didn't like the way he behaved, and I just didn't want to do it anymore. And
Right.
so those are the two times that I felt like I don't want to do this. And the Star Wars one was awesome. I mean, it's beautiful. We had land speeders and stormtroopers, and I did the whole cantina scene, but
That's
I quit
awesome.
after the first day because I was just like, oh, this is before I even had kids, but if I had a daughter at that time, I don't know if I could have handled it. But that's not the entire adult industry, and I stand by that.
Yeah.
I did, I don't know, 30, 25 Wood Rocket features that were porn parody, and I've been nominated for AVN 15 times. I won one.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, I did.
For a movie called The Puppet Inside Me for most outrageous sex scene. It was a puppet, like Muppet, Jim Henson Muppets.
Did you get a trophy for that?
You know what? I didn't. That's a sad spot on my.
The sore subject.
Yeah, they gave it to the performer.
Bringing it up.
They gave it to the performer, but not the puppet performer.
Uh,
How come the puppet performer didn't get it? I had to be in the mix. I was there. And I made the puppets. I birthed those puppets. No, I didn't get the trophy. I wanted to just borrow it so I could mold it. Like, let me make my own. But at the end of the day, I love working on those Wood Rocket films, and it was a highlight of my career. I use my real name. Everybody gives me a hard time, like, why didn't you have a porn name? Because I'm real proud of the work I did.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. It's definitely a piece of my story. But that first John Vulich one, the first Optic Nerve one, it had nothing to do with Optic Nerve. This wasn't their fault. Yeah. But the producers making the thing, and Kimbo Slice, who I had an extreme distaste for until I watched this documentary on him afterwards that was like, okay.
He passed away, right?
Yeah, he's gone. But I felt uncomfortable, like involved in trafficking or something. But later I found out, I talked to the Wood Rocket guys about this experience once I got more comfortable and they became my close friends. They knew the girl. And she's great. And they had nothing but wonderful things to say about her. So because I was always nervous, like, is this, like, she's fresh off the boat from Argentina. Like, is this something, are we okay? But they knew her, and they said she's great. She's a wonderful person. And although sometimes that shitty dialogue is kind of how people talk in that industry, it probably wasn't as bad as I was perceiving. I hadn't been around that. And I'm a perpetual superhero. I don't know if you know this.
Oh.
I'm a good guy. Or I try to be.
You are a good guy.
Yeah, it depends on who you ask. But,
so, like, when it comes to the movies, though, then I see movies, sometimes it's kind of fun, I would imagine. Like the idea of like doing a vagina bed, is that kind of like how the fuck are we gonna do a vagina bed?
Oh, no, I mean, to me, that was the easiest job. But
Oh,
like, yeah, just make a giant puppet, flat plate mold sculpt, be underneath it. Blah 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 blah. It's like Audrey 2, but it was a vagina. That was a fun one, man. I actually really enjoyed that job. I enjoyed being on set. I had a lot of fun on that movie. The That was a movie called Doctor Deathface. The the ones I don't like is when the director takes it so seriously that they just have forgotten that why we're all there,
right.
and they forgot that everybody's there to help them achieve their goal. And we talk a lot about this on. I have a Friday show called Tales from the Vault with Nightmare Christie, and we go through my old film catalog, and we talk a lot about like my experience on those movies, and a lot of the times it's like, well, this could have been great, but these guys take themselves so seriously. And I'm not saying don't take your job seriously. I'm saying understand we're just making movies. We are not.
Yeah, there's like a pretentious.
We're not building bridges that need to be safe. We're not the military or the fire department. We are just making entertainment for entertainment's sake. Nobody asked for these movies. We're just making them. You know. So sometimes you got to remember that while you're busting your butt and having a good time. I hate to hear stories of these independent filmmakers that are like, it was like going to war. And I'm like, but why?
Right.
Why was it like that? You're with your friends. You guys are all living your childhood dream. What do you mean you're going to war? I think it's just those people that like to tell a really tough story so they have this like climactic end. And I think it's unnecessary.
Well, and I think also maybe where you get a little extra. You had, because you had so much experience working on so many movies. A lot of indie filmmakers, when they go make their first thing, it's like they're not ready for how big it's going to be, how much work it's going to be.
Oh, it's a ton of
And
work.
if you don't have a good personality, like if you're not good at managing stress and you're not good at managing even challenges,
and that's a tough job
you
for
fall
you.
apart fast. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what you see is like when it's bad, it's those types of people that it's just like
I used to work with this guy Eric Forsberg, and Eric, his mom like created Second City Comedy.
Oh wow!
And Eric had been in the entertainment industry his whole life. But God, when it came to making movies, this guy was miserable. He was a miserable person. He had great stories. He knew everybody. He was this. Good friends with Stuart Gordon, but when it came to making a movie, he was just such a dick. And the same thing I talk on Tales from the Vault about Tom Calloway. I love Tom. Tom Calloway is a DP that is responsible for our childhood. He made Critters. He shot Critters. He shot a bunch of like really prominent, awesome B movies. And working with him on set, though, it's like, God, this guy's miserable. I don't understand. Offset, he's the most jovial. We are friends. I love him. We have everything in common. And not really. He's from Texas, but like I love Tom Calloway. I'm a fan of his work too, but I didn't. If you tell me he's the DP, I'm like, you know what? Let me refer somebody else. That just has more problems than not. I just can't stand being around miserable people that are doing what other people would pay to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? Let's all just have a really good time and stop being mad.
Right. Yeah, if it stresses you out so much.
Maybe it's the wrong job. Go work at Costco, man. Something. I don't know. But that's just how I feel.
I don't think it's that. Unfortunately,
How was it working when you worked with Ted Nichols?
Oh, it's hilarious. It was amazing.
Was he uptight or was he just had fun?
Yeah, Ted Michaels. He was.
Michaels.
He was.
Yeah.
He was just like, and that was what was so cool because it was the first time I ever got to do anything. It was like
you got to see how fun it is.
Yeah, I walk into this like looks like a little, like a little office place, in like a industrial building. And I go through the opening office.
People that don't know, Ted Michaels is like a legendary B filmmaker. He made movies like Astro Zombies and all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah, he made a bunch, and he made like some like Girl in the Gold Boots, I think. Like some of the stuff was even like out of the horror realm too. Right. But yeah, he made tons of stuff. Lived in a castle when he was in his heyday in California, some sort of like California castle. Remember that was part of like the story and the lore. But yeah, once you walk in there, he was just nice. He was like, oh, he was very like
cartoon character.
Yeah, very much. Yeah, he had this his unbuttoned shirt that was down here with his hairy chest, and he had this like big tooth or something that had like wire wrapped around. It was like his necklace.
I mean, he looked like the guy from Jumanji. Like he looked like the explorer from Jumanji.
And he would always like be in the movie too. So he, like he'd do a little scene, which like again, it was also new to me. That, but yeah, he was just super friendly. I never saw him stressed out, and there was some times where like one of the times we shot in this uh the Spanish grocery store over on Rancho, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
And we get there, and it was for Corpse Grinders too. And they one of the girls just doesn't show up. One of the actresses just doesn't show up. I don't know why or whatever, but either way, she didn't show up. No big deal. Well, the lady who's playing, so the scene is that they're like they're giving away samples of cat food at a store. So it's hilarious because it just doesn't make any fucking sense at all. And the alien woman who's in it, she stops by and then eats the cat food, and they're like, "What's going on?" So it's just this kind of goofy thing. But the old lady that's playing the lady sampling it, she was. I don't know who she was, but she was somebody's. Oftentimes, they were like his friends.
His friends.
So wealthy old people that were just like, so it was amazing and awesome, but not great with the lines,
Yeah.
And so when the girl didn't show up, this woman had remembered her lines so well, and her line was like, "Hello, ladies. Would you like to try to find something?"
She couldn't undo the plural.
She couldn't stop saying ladies. I was like, I got to hold sound on that. It was the first time, so I was laying at this table, holding up this boom mic that was probably not in the right spot to begin with, because that was also kind of like, there was just, not that he didn't know what he was doing, but there was a lot of kind of hilariousness of it all. It was like, yeah, just right there, just lay right there. Like nothing seemed to be really, it was just like spur of the moment decisions. But yeah, I feel like we did like 100 takes of that, and every time she was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, okay, hello, ladies." And he just didn't give me. Okay, let's do it again. Okay, he was just, I don't know. He was fun, man. He was a really nice guy.
That's awesome.
And it was cool, yeah. So I was very lucky, I think, to like,
Hey, you're lucky to get that experience.
yeah, just to get to do that, and then the fact that he was just a nice guy was cool. And he could talk to you, like I remember like. I didn't want to bother him, and like we're in between doing something, and in his hallway he had like the posters of all of his stuff that he done. And I was like, I would ask him about it. He had a story for everyone, man. And the one I don't know why I'm forgetting the name, but there's a Doll Squad. This movie, Doll Squad. So he went into this big long story to me about how Charlie's Angels was inspired by Doll Squad, and they had stolen the idea, and he was telling me all about it. And but yeah, he was just a cool guy, man. He was fun to listen to.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Like his movies were like, they were. Did you ever see Corpse Grinders too?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, there's a scene in that, but it's like it was again kind of just the way he did things. So it was a funeral scene, and we're all sitting in like it's proper, I don't know, Paul mortuary or wherever we're shooting at, and they bring in this girl and they're like, oh, she's a really good singer. She does, so in the scene, everybody's sitting there. They do the service, and then this girl from the audience starts singing Amazing Grace. And I just remember like this big talk up of like, oh man, she's a really good singer. She's really good. Everybody's kind of excited about this girl coming in, and she's super nice. But then it goes to action, and she like knows, I don't know, 8 of the words of Amazing Grace. So it's just like, and I don't know if she was, just nervous and forgetting it, or didn't really know. But in the moment, like it just was no preparation. So it was like, okay, she's just like kind of not singing all the words. That was just hilarious. And he just, all right, let's just do it again. This time, do this instead. And so there's like a lot of those little moments that were like underprepared, but didn't bother him at all. And he was the first time I've heard the term, but he was like, after he did some take one time, he's like, more camp, or something like that. And I was like, and I asked my friends, what does that mean? He's like, what's like campiness? And at that moment because like, honestly, I loved it all, but I was kind of like, this isn't really good. I was like, this is not very good. And then I realized, I was like, oh, that's what he does. Like, that's
but you're like this serious Richard Linklater.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, they just didn't like, I kind of had forgotten all the early, crazy horror I loved. And, it was, I think the one, maybe even both of those, I don't know if he had full scripts. That was like right when he had tried to use outline. So that was a whole different
Doesn't work.
challenge. Yeah.
It's very
And it was not working.
It's
It was
very
like,
tough.
yeah.
That is a corner I've tried to cut too many times, and I'll never cut it again. That's a corner I tried to cut in Nameless. I was like, I had the script I wrote in 2010. I just told you guys I can barely write. So it wasn't a full script.
I got lucky because one day before I did anything, as I was dreaming of making things, and I had a camera, and I'd done like a little short or whatever. But me and a good friend of mine, we were living together, and it was like he wanted to try acting and all this. So I was like, let's just go do a scene. So he like went out in the garage. It was supposed to be like this scene where like he was getting poured, like I'm beating him, trying to get it from me. Point was, is like we had an idea, but we had nothing.
Right.
And so like we were all excited. And then once you like started going, I realized immediately, I was like, this sucks. Like, like you don't just come up with I think that you can do some really cool stuff
In
loose
improv.
in improv.
But you
But
need
you
a
have to have all the
skeleton
structure.
to follow.
Yeah, you gotta have the structure.
And I think the Trek, we made the Trek 99% improv.
Yeah.
Because I had watched this awesome documentary on Easy Riders.
Mm-hmm.
And Easy Rider was done like a drug binge improv movie, and it became one of the Oscar favorites.
Yeah.
Like it basically did what you can't do. It terrified.
Yeah.
So Easy Rider, this low budget biker movie, took the world. So I love that documentary so much, and I was listening to Dennis Hopper talk about how we didn't freaking write a script. We were just standing in the back of a pickup truck with a camera. And I woke up the next day and I told Lola I had just seen Hostel, and I was like, I hated Hostel. I loved Eli Roth before Hostel, and then I hated Hostel, and I was like, okay, there's not a likable character in this movie. You don't like the kids, you don't like the villains, you don't like anybody.
Right.
They're just rich assholes on both sides. So I told Lola, I said, we're gonna make a movie called I didn't call it The Trek, but I said we're gonna make a movie. And it's going to be this honeymoon couple in the woods that you're just in love with. But then they're going to get attacked by these monsters. But they're only attacked because they poke the bear,
Right.
So then you also love the monsters. I want you to love both sides. Both sides, you don't know which one to root for.
That's Jason. That's
and I said, and we're going to shoot this completely improv. We're not going to write a script. We're going to make this movie in 2 weeks. And she was like, you're crazy. Okay, we'll do it. And then we talked to my friend Brett and Aaron and got them together and got them to know their character. We spent that 2 weeks like building out that outline and the characters. Mm-hmm. So there was no script, but they knew each other. Like we made it almost like a home video because they were acting freely without a script to follow, but they knew their characters. So they were...
Yeah, they felt really comfortable.
And then I did a bunch of interviews, including my grandmother, which is really awesome, and who's passed away now, but she'll live immortally in this movie, and she's really good in it. But the way I got my grandmother to talk in that movie is I just interviewed her about my parents. And so every answer she was saying was truth. Every story she was saying was truth.
Right.
So it doesn't look like acting, you know what I mean? And then we just made it that she's talking about Keith and Kim, our characters in the movie. That was a really fun experimental film, and because of that I thought I could get it back on Nameless. The problem was with Nameless is it had a huge cast.
Yeah.
So to get all those people to take their characters seriously and to take this process seriously, these weren't just a bunch of arty theater people that I was dealing with. These were like some B-movie stars, some newcomers, some haunted house hangarounds. On the same page, you know what I mean? So it was like the
most important thing with improv.
That was a lesson learned. It took us a long time in post because of this choice I made. But in the end, that movie is totally watchable, totally fun, entertaining. It all works. It just takes finessing. You don't have to say, "Oh, it didn't work. We're done." Just took a little bit of work editing, a little bit of work with the score, and
Well,
we had to cut. I cut one guy, really cut him out a lot of the movie. Wasn't working. And then some of the choices, like I had mentioned, Drew Marvick was in the movie and now he's not. Well, that's because we didn't really know I thought that before. I didn't know where the movie was going. I shot the ending first. So it was like, it didn't really work. His character's not in this movie, you know?
Right.
So we took it out. No maliciousness, no.
No, and Drew's a good actor.
Yeah. Oh, great actor. Everybody knows that.
Yeah. We give him like.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah, he's really good.
But it just didn't fit at the end. But Jason and Amber ended up coming back several times. They're also in that scene, and Chris Arredondo. So their storyline fit. The improv nature was tough. But I love that we did it. I love that we tried, you know.
One of the best lessons that I learned, but it took me about 30 years to realize it, was when you're young, all of us that want to be like the filmmakers and these different things, we listen to like these masters talk about these things. Like, Dennis Hopper talking about like making this movie, like, ooh, they have a script. And when
they also had lots of drugs. That's where me and Dennis Hopper are different.
But also there was like a level of like the talent and mastery of their thing. Like you can do these things.
That's at the beginning though. Dennis Hopper, Jack Nicholson, Peter Fonda, this was the beginning of their career.
But I think that
they had the freedom to make that movie how they wanted to. They were using other people's money. They were partying their way across country and documenting it. And then they added narrative. It was beautiful. It's lightning in a bottle.
And I guess that's also my point is like there's so many factors that go into it that you don't you don't know. So when you're like, oh yeah, I could definitely improv this thing. You can figure out all the reasons why it should work, but you don't understand all the reasons why it won't. You don't even know what they are.
Right.
And so even to that, like with that is, I think I would still attribute that a lot of its success is the fact that those guys, they grew to have great careers because they were talented. Some people are just born talented to some degree. You still learn and grow.
I also just feel that it's a different era, man. Like we can't do what they did because it was illegal. You can't get away with what they got away with. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's okay. And it's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's lightning in a bottle. It won't be recreated. You can't compare Terrifier to Evil Dead. You can't because they're not the same.
Yeah. But Terrifier is its own thing.
It's its own thing, and now I think that what Terrifier did is something that we can still do right now. And if we find the right crowd. I'm not saying make a clown movie that is successful, but I think we can make a movie like Clerks. Here's the thing, Clerks was something that happened that is more than likely never going to happen again. Some guys making a movie off short end film in New Jersey who have no experience whatsoever, and it sells at the largest film market in the world. You know what I mean? That's crazy.
Yeah, the truth is, because a lot of that stuff is like just a moment in time too.
Yeah.
It's like if Kevin Smith never made a movie and was whatever, 20, 30 years younger, and today woke up and made Clerks, all the same situation, no one would give a shit.
Nobody care.
Yeah, no one would care.
There might be a small underground following of it.
But very small.
And we'd watch it on
Tubi.
Tubi.
Make it to Sundance.
We would watch it on Tubi, and as soon as we saw it's black and white, we'd switch back.
Yeah. And that's another thing that's like, I've had this conversation with some filmmaking friends, and they're like, I'll make this movie and I'll make it in black and white. And I'm like, I remember I used to think some of that stuff was fun too. And I'm not saying you should. Sometimes you should if you want to, but also understand what you're doing.
I'll tell you what I want to make more than anything. A silent film.
I do too.
I want to make a silent film, and I want to make it fit as if it came from the silent era. I dabbled with it on Las Vegas Frankenstein. I got to add a little bit in there, but I want to do that for real. Like I love the idea.
I've been
because I love silent film.
10 years.
I love the Golem. I love Nosferatu. Cabinet of Dr. Caligari is freaking awesome.
I want to do it, but I want to experiment with it. Like I want to do what it does, but I want to just play with it and see where it goes. And that's why I haven't done it, because I'm like, I'm asking for years of something that I don't have extra time for right now. But one day I will. One idea I always had, and you might think it was sacrilege, but it was like just to kind of understand it was like, I was like, I'm going to take Nosferatu, strip all the sound, and just like play with it, like do an edit through it with adding some different
I think
music,
it's wonderful.
adding some different titles, just like, and only just so that I can like.
Did you ever see the Nosferatu that Typo Negative did the score for?
No.
Yeah, Typo Negative, which is a very famous vampire band, redid Nosferatu, and they took the movie silent, but they wrote a score. They scored it and put it out because it's public domain, so you can buy that copy.
Right.
And I think that's brilliant. I didn't write. We have an idea to do a Nosferatu adaptation. I don't really want to talk about it out loud because somebody else will do it. It's brilliant. It's something I want to do with my wife. I want her to be involved heavily, but I'd love to see her direct it. But I don't know if she will. But with our newfound talents as of recent, I think this is something that could really be done.
Well, and then back to what I was getting at there too, is it's like, if you want to make a silent film, it's just like, you just have to realize that you're up against the challenge.
Yeah.
And so you can't expect, don't be upset with like.
The nice thing about the Plan 10 movies and what we do is I really don't make them for success. I make them because I want to make a piece of art or make a story that I want to tell. So if Slaughterhouse on the Hill isn't seen by 100,000 people, it's okay. I just wanted to make that movie so it existed. Oh, I gotta show you today. When we're done, before you leave, I gotta show you something.
Oh, nice.
It's so cool.
I don't know if I like this zombie at all or hate it, but for some reason
I like that. I like that.
For some reason, I feel like I'm just
You're not finding that one?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like everything I try is like, okay.
Do you think it's because it's just on front of the head? Would you rather work on
maybe? But I honestly think maybe the thing is that like just because the first round
it was crap.
It was like a little harder, so like I just got stuck in some spots that but it's it is what it is.
Hey, we don't have to keep it. Not all of them are.
But it's still fun making it. So.
But at the end of the day, we need to. I like to hear when people don't know if they like what they have.
Yeah, I'm happy to be a critic of my stuff. So
I think that's good.
Our friend Terry says hi and that your mask is creepy.
Hi, Terry.
That she would watch something in black and white. We made it.
Yeah. It's I love that stuff, but it's like like I said, it's funny. It's because like there's some people, like you said, the Clerks. I know people that just never watched it. Even back in the time, the whole world was like all talking about it. There's like I can't watch a black and white movie, and it worked for him because it was still black and white enough.
Yeah,
but
I mean, it was in that total moment of like photography and art, and I don't know. I love. It hit me at the right moment.
Well, and also at that time too, is like there wasn't the independent movie was sort of. I don't want to say it's the birth of it, but it's kind of is in the sense of like the public wasn't like, wait, you can make a movie for $20,000 or $30,000, like that was so much of that story when that movie was published. So like that's a fun thing for everybody to get on board. You sold
your comic book collection. And same thing with Robert Rodriguez with Mariachi, right?
Yeah,
yeah. He gave blood in
that movie. So cool.
And I've always grasped onto that. I mean, that is like where my whole life comes from.
Yeah,
Clerks was very important to me.
Yeah, me too. I don't think if that wouldn't have happened, I don't know that I ever would have made a movie. Because that was.
I just don't know that I would have realized you could.
Yeah, and that's exactly why. It's like I just would have thought that it was not. And then the TED thing was another huge thing. It was like it just helped me like see. I was like, oh, this isn't as.
It's less pretentious than you think.
Yeah, because like up to that point, like the best you're gonna see is just some amazing behind the scenes on some of your big. You know what I'm saying? It's like so you're like, oh, there's 800 people back there. It's just too big.
I started not a real company, but when I was a kid, I called it Backyard Productions. And I made these little movies on like camcorder.
Nice.
And, I used to be really judgmental about all these film students that I'd meet, including my wife. And I'm like, and you didn't make movies? Like, why'd you go to film school if you didn't make movies? I just can't understand. I'm kind of putting myself on a pedestal,
Right.
And that was just a weird thing. But I understand now sometimes people pick a job and that's what they go for. But at the time I was like, poser. You didn't make movies. Like, you have no right being
Make
here.
a movie. Yeah.
I understand. And meanwhile, my like VHS movies of the kitchen slasher, I'm like, they're not art. I promise, guys. They're terrible. They're unwatchable, or I would have put them on YouTube by now. I promise. But I do have movies that I made when I was a kid that I thought were so awesome. I made this skate video called Pink Lemonade. That, God, if I had that today, I'd put it on YouTube.
That's cool.
YouTube's a crazy thing, man. I was searching my local town, like East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania is where I grew up. I just put East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania punk shows, and I found videos of me from when I was 14,
Really?
13, 14, and like these punk rock show, like basement shows and stuff. And
That's
and
awesome.
you see me like jump up on top of the crowd and do a flip, and I'm like, this is so insane that somebody caught video of me when I was a child, and it lives here online. It's crazy.
I gotta look that up because I've never thought about that. But I went to so many shows of that.
Like you said, you went to the 100. I guarantee you, if you Google or YouTube search, the 100, 1998 or whatever, you're gonna find those shows, because that's what I did. I just looked up East Stroudsburg punk scene, 1990s, and I found all of these videos. I found multiple videos with myself in them, and I was like, "This is crazy." I showed my kids. I was like, "That little blonde lemon head kid, that's your dad." Back when the like bleaching your hair was so cool. And one of them, I'm wearing a Collective Soul shirt, not ironically.
That's what I love about you, because I feel like we're very similar in that way too. Is like you have like you're very hardcore into the punk and all the horror and all that stuff at the same time, but you're like, I like Collective Soul.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was always that way. Like I would have. I don't know. I would have some.
You know what it was? Did you ever do Columbia House?
Oh yeah.
Oh, so I did Columbia. I like ripped Columbia House off. I'd always get the 30 free tapes under a different name to the same address, and they never somehow caught on. I never paid for Columbia House in my life. I got hundreds of tapes. I got, and that's how I heard all the music, because like I'd get like Rage Against the Machine and Collective Soul.
Yeah, because whenever you
Smashing Pumpkins and Pantera, Far Beyond Driven.
When you order from that catalog, you always have like 3 you knew you wanted.
Yeah.
And then you'd be like, oh, like
I just picked up on cover art. Just cover art.
Or just one song you heard on the radio.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I remember buying some.
Tara wants to know what time you grew up in again. She wants to look up those videos.
She'll never recognize me, I promise, but she might. I'm wearing huge baggy pants, very blonde hair. It's called East Stroudsburg was the town. East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. But specifically, there's a show at the Gate. It's called, it says East Stroudsburg Punk, The Gate. And you can see me do a flip over the crowd in a very, very backyard 7th, 8th grade. It's not in the yard, it's in a building, but a building about the size of this room. And there's probably 40 kids in there. I mean, it was intense. I didn't remember that until I saw it on YouTube, and I stopped it and I called my wife. I was like, "You gotta come see this. This is me. That's me." And I look like a baby. I look so little because I was little. I was like 4'8" in 9th grade. I was a little kid, and my kids are both real little. And I'm like, someday you'll grow up. I promise. I did. I mean, I only made it to 5'6", but we'll get there. My wife's dad's real tall. I was always hoping my son would end up being like 6'2", but he won't. We're tiny.
Yeah, I feel like my son might. My dad was he's 6 foot. My mom was 5'2". She was a very little lady.
And your wife's pretty short.
Yeah, I think she's 5'6". I'm like, well, I say I'm 5'8", but I was 5'8". I might be slunking down to 5'7". But
I'm 5'6".
My son is big. He's been big since he's always been well above his. And we have massive people in like my dad's side of the family. And even my grandpa, on my mom's side.
Your brother's tall.
Yeah, he was like 5'10". So Yeah, I think there's a good chance my son might be, and my brother's son is, I think, over 6'2". So yeah,
That's cool.
but his mom was she was tall. So yeah, you never know. And then some kids just sprout late in life. So like your little guys might. I
Yeah.
tell you, TJ did that. Like I was taller than TJ at graduation.
Really?
Yep. At least that's my memory.
It's all of
Like,
his defying
it was
gravity.
crazy.
He
Yeah,
defied gravity, and then
yeah. When he started doing really well, I remember he came over to my house one time. We were like, I want to swim. Right?
head
Like,
got
first
big,
time I had
started
seen it.
floating.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit!
Treasure
This
map.
guy's like, you sold your soul.
That's awesome. I think it's so fun that you guys are so close. And I have those friends like Ben Foreman, who I was talking about earlier, who's going to do sound, and my buddy Chuck in Pennsylvania, and Jamie in Pennsylvania, or in Florida now. These are my friends like since I was a kid, you know?
Yeah.
But it's awesome to me because as much as I love horror movies and stuff, I love action sports probably more.
Right.
That's my first passion ever. I thought I was going to be a pro snowboarder. I always loved motocross and BMX, and I really pushed my kids to race BMX. And to find out that that's your childhood best friend and you guys spend so much time together, so freaking cool to me.
Yeah, it's and that also was a fun moment in time for us too in our lives too. When the action sports thing hit, the public, like it was like so. It was cool to be able to also see somebody that was in.
And you got to see it from the outside because you didn't really partake in the sports, but
it wasn't enough. I liked watching it, but I knew that I never thought for a moment.
The crazy thing is like the amount of the public that I mean, late '90s, early 2000s, extreme sports were everything.
Yeah. The coolest thing, I might have said this already on the show, but I think I told you. But one of the coolest things was when he was like called me one day and he's like, MTV's gonna do a show at my house. I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, they're gonna do a show at my house in a month or so. And I was like, that's fucking insane. What does that mean? Because that was at the height of those cool MTV
the
shows.
parties and stuff.
Spring breaks. I mean, I dreamt to be able to get to one of those.
You told me you tried to go to one with your girlfriend.
My friend drove down to fucking Lake Havasu, and it was extremely disappointed and drove all the way back after a fight. But yeah, it was like Ashton Kutcher was going to be there, Carson Daly was the host of it. At the time, my younger sister had like this massive crush on Carson Daly.
I think everybody's sister.
I
didn't even have a sister, and I think everybody's sister.
But it was, it was just amazing. It was just so. Like, I went to go to the bathroom. They're like, "You can't go to the house." I'm like, "Yeah, I can't go to the house."
You're like, I've been here before.
Yeah, but it was just like it was crazy. That was a cool moment. But then I got to meet some cool people through him. Like when he was living with Carrie and Carrie's such a nice guy.
Dude,
nice guy.
My wife just saw a video of Carrie and his son, Carrie Hart, is who we're talking about, and his son, and she's like, his son looks like he'd be Cooper's best friend. They're like doing the same dance in an elevator. Because I love action sports. I love Carrie Hart. I love all of it. I'm a big Metal Militia guy. I love the history of freestyle MX. But I loved BMX first. I was a Dave Mira, Matt Hoffman, huge fan.
Did you know who Fuzzy Hall was?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's another one. Like he was with TJ's. He still is. I've seen him at one time, but
is he a Vegas guy?
Utah.
Oh, okay.
But Fuzzy is just one of the nicest human beings you'll ever meet in your life.
Most BMX dudes are. I remember when I got to meet TJ through you, I asked him if he knew my buddy Braxton, who was a BMX guy, and he did, and that was cool because Braxton's gone. But yeah, I love action sports. Growing up, we built our bikes. I put every part that you can get out of BMX Plus on those bikes, and I built this huge dirt jump at my friend Chuck's house for his birthday, and he was too scared to go off of it. But like I told you before, I grew up fearless. Like, I don't have fear. Yeah. I lack the fear receptors.
Right.
So I would be the guy that would hit every jump. I would be the guy that would do everything. I couldn't do backflips and stuff because I just didn't have the skill, but it wasn't because of fear.
Did you ever try one?
I never could get it. I couldn't commit to looking over to my landing.
Yeah.
Which I give my daughter a really hard time for now when she's doing like back bends and walkovers. I'm like, look for your landing. I could do a backflip on a snowboard probably before I could do it on on a BMX bike, it would just I would just bail out, just like on Rad, just like when Crew Drugs keeps bailing out on the mattresses. But also, we saw a real brutal thing happen when I was a kid. A guy did a backflip down at the trails, no helmet, blew his head out like a watermelon. Really? So it's like that was always like, ooh, I don't know.
He died?
Yeah, it did.
Holy shit.
But then the like I was always the guy, can, neck. You throw your legs off, feet off, hands off, I could do it all. Bar spins, 180s. I could never make a 360, which is funny because I could only like land the 180 and pop backwards as quick as I could. But that was that looking for your landing thing. If I could have just looked for my landing, I could have done it. On a snowboard, I could 360, I think I 540 many times.
You ever do like flips on like diving board or trampoline? I did that. I used to love
trampoline, diving board,
like crazy. But
we used to tape the edges on our snowboards and jump on trampolines and practice all of our moves. And I was very early in the snowboarding world, like before they allowed snowboards on chairlifts. You had to walk up the hill where I lived and stuff. So I competed a lot with snowboarding and I loved it. I built my own little team, but I had like some co-sponsorships. I was sponsored by Joyride and Ignition. And
nice.
I really thought I was going to be a pro snowboarder. And then I broke my ankle skateboarding in 3 or 5 places or something. And because of that, I did no longer compete snowboarding and I became an effects artist instead. I really think if I would have set my eyes towards any direction, though, I would have achieved it. It could have been effects artist, could have been snowboarder, could have been BMX guy, could have been chopper builder, whatever it is. I think I just chose movie makeup, and then once I did, I dug in,
Right.
But I really think I wasn't naturally gifted. I fought for it, and I think I would have fought for being a firefighter, anything. Right. But I think about that often. I'm like, I could have done anything else, but this is what I did, and I love it. It's unique.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I always thought being a action sports cinematographer would have been good, or a video guy. Like I love video cameras, especially back in the day. Like I still have my VX2000 from all the skate videos, and I love that. The Canon XL1 and all those old cameras.
Yeah.
I love that stuff. And I would have really enjoyed filming action sports and making videos like Up in the Ante or Crusty Demons of Dirt or whatever. Oh, Frank. What time is it, Kayla?
12:15.
We are going to have to wrap this up because I got Mo coming to pick up the pirate skeletons.
But moving up plenty along. So here's my guy. This is what I came up with.
That's looking good. I think the teeth look a little chiclety, but I love the forehead stuff.
Okay. I think the other piece is like I feel like it needs an edge that I didn't get.
Yeah. I wouldn't call that your best work.
Right.
But I'm not saying it's a...
No, it doesn't hurt my feelings. It's like I said, I just knew and I do this with art sometimes, like with anything, like with scat, like sometimes you're just like, you're having fun, but you're like... For realism's sake, I think the mouth looks goofy. Yeah. But I don't disagree. I think you could have built up a lot more clay to give the angle of a real mouth, rather than the flatness. And, he's here. I was just talking about you. He's who? Why?
So, guys, we're going to wrap this up because Mo is in the building. We're going to deliver some pirate props.
I already put them in the truck.
Oh, you already put them in the truck.
Do the spinny things and all that stuff work?
Everything works. I need to put a little bit of electrical tape. I replaced the plug on the on this. So let me. My wife brought the electrical tape. She's next door, and I'll just tape up that. Other than that, they should be good to go. Awesome, man. I just made this Frankenstein monster.
Have you seen
Yeah, I loved it.
the new one?